I don't feel alone. You just settled in and it already feels like home.
You're listening to the Feels Like Home podcast with Mike Throne and Marty Ford. Powered by Horizon. This is big. This is gig.
Hey everybody, thanks for coming back to the Feels Like Home podcast. And if you're a first-time listener, thanks for coming on. And today we're going to talk with Chris Weinland. He is the Director of Transit for the city of Chillicothe. And Chris is a brand new Chillicothean, and he's a guy that has come in to transit at a really, really interesting time. The Innovation Track has born a lot of new and cool things with transit. And it's, I think, an underrated and really, really underpublicized great aspect of Chillicothe. So we're going to let Chris talk a little bit about why he came here and also about what's coming in transit. So we hope that you enjoy Chris Weinland. But we're really excited to have with us today the Dean of Transportation in Chillicothe, the new Dean of Transportation in Chillicothe. Chris Weinland is the title is what? So Transit Director, I believe.
It's Transit Director. Sometimes it's Director of Transportation, depending on where you see it. But yeah,
at Chillicothe Transit System, the bus service here in Chillicothe and Ross County, for that matter, which we'll get into a little bit. But Chris comes to us from Columbus. So why don't you give us a little bit of your background and kind of you're new to town, so I want to introduce you to folks. So
well, thanks, I appreciate that. Yeah. My name is Christopher Weinland. I grew up in Columbus, specifically the Bexley area. So I finished up high school there, went to Ohio State for a year. I commuted, jumped on the bus every day, took COTA to school. It's a sign.
Yeah, right.
And then
Someday.
and then I transferred. I was a transfer student to Bowling Green State University, Isaac Zumba. There you go.
I'm a Bowling Green guy myself, so I get it.
There you go. I'm told that's the wrong direction you're supposed to go. I'm told you're supposed to start at Bowling Green, then went to go to Ohio State. Ohio State was way too big for me.
Yeah.
So I transferred. I went there, and I liked it so much I came back. Liked it so much I met my wife there, and so we're Falcon Flames.
Yes.
So. But I have a daughter. She's about to be a year old. Her name's Vivian. She's fantastic. I mean, what child of that age isn't?
That's right.
She's just wandering around like she's a great kid. She's a great kid. And so my wife is from Cincinnati. My wife Kate. We settled here. Initially, we started looking at the area because it was just kind of a good compromise between Columbus and Cincinnati. Right? It was kind of halfway in between. And the more we learn about this community, the more that we learn about the people in it and how people see things and the way they treat each other, the more we're convinced we absolutely 100% made the right choice. I mean, it's just, I don't know if it's something in the water here, but like there's a lot of folks that are saying, well, how do we make our community better? How do we emphasize what we're good at? How do we emphasize what's great about Chillicothe? It's exciting to be a part of that.
Yeah.
It's really exciting to be a part of that. So,
Yeah.
there's me in a nutshell.
And so tell everybody what you kind of do as transit director, because I think one of the great, not great, but I would say one of the untold secrets of Chillicothe is like this great transit system that we have that a lot of places that are our size do not have transit systems like this.
Yeah.
And they certainly can't utilize them the way that we have over the years. So
absolutely. Yeah. Chillicothe is absolutely an anomaly in that way. We started off in 1982, about 40 years ago now. Happy birthday to us. And we're funded by an income tax, 1/10%. That is very much an anomaly. There are 3 other municipalities in the state of Ohio that have that. And there's probably about an average of something like that in terms of municipalities across the states. So we're very much an anomaly. The great thing about that is it's not that we have the quality of service that we do explicitly because of that, but what we do is we leverage that amount of money to apply for other state fundings. We have partnerships where we use the equipment that we have available here to apply for state and federal funding. So the Ohio Department of Transportation funds us, Department of Transportation funds us. There's a number of other sources that we go to for grant funding that allow us to provide the quality of service that we do. And it's excellent. It's excellent for the place that it's at. And there's every reason to believe that it should be. We've got great staff. We've got, a strong budget, healthy, well cared for vehicles and that sort of thing. And the changes that I'll talk about a little bit tonight, I think are going to bring that service to a lot more people. They certainly have in the month of January.
Yeah. Now, how many people are employed by transit?
39.
Yeah.
Total.
39, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I would never have known
I was
that
not
before
expecting that number. Yeah.
So full disclosure, I am the president of the Transit Advisory Board, which we had a meeting last week, and I got to finally meet Chris, and I was like, hey, why don't you come on the podcast?
Yeah.
So
that's okay. I missed the bus tonight. So I had to.
That's your own fault, right?
That's on my own fault. Yeah. I missed it by 11 minutes. I came out and I was just deep in the weeds. Right. So, I came out and I was like, I'm going to grab the next bus over to the library. And they're like, yeah, we stopped running 11 minutes ago. The dispatcher just laughed. So, I am also clearly very qualified.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But I use this. But on the other side, I'm a citizen too, and I use the service myself. I'd use it anyway. I used CODA when I was in Columbus. Coming from a city, public transportation is a lot more understood, more normal, more acceptable for anybody, regardless of socioeconomic status or availability of transit or any of those other things. And it's crucial. It's crucial there. But we have kind of a cultural battle ahead of us in making people aware that what we do in the transit service is for everybody, right? So that's kind of the uphill PR battle that we're fighting.
Yeah. And in addition to the city's fixed routes, which is, the buses that you see pass by or wherever the bus stop is, if you see a bus going to and from or whatever, you've also started some interesting new services like on demand and things like that. But to kind of back up on the fixed routes though, that's changed a little bit. And I think it's probably still going to be in some more flux here as we move forward, right?
Absolutely, yes. So the big change to fixed routes, we added an entirely new route. So all of these changes are coming out of a 1-year process that we engaged in, and we being the city of Chillicothe, previous transit director Austin Powell and the mayor and a handful of other individuals engaged over 400 local stakeholders, right? Over 400 citizens. And they went to them and they said, "What do you want? What do you want this service to look like? What works? What doesn't work?" That sort of thing. And they kind of went through this collaborative planning process, cultivated some ideas, and then tried to focus on 2 or 3, right? One of the big ones was reformations to the fixed route service. We dropped some stops. Based on the fact that the big complaint was, well, in the time that I can get a bus from one side of Chillicothe to the other, I could just walk there and get there faster. Well, that's not practical at all, of course. So we dropped a couple of the further out stops in order to make those, make some of those loops half an hour in time or an hour at the absolute outside, so that we can make sure that people get where they need to go in a reasonable amount of time. If the service isn't practical, it's not going to be used.
Right.
That was another thing that we found. There were a lot of stops that you kind of just had to be in the know about. Like there would be like, just kind of a pole there, and it's like, oh yeah, like the bus driver like stops there like every third Friday or whatever, and he just like picks me up, or like you would hear these anecdotal stories about just kind of how informal it was. Like, oh yeah, so and so will take you over here, and that's fine for the handful of people that were benefiting from that service. I mean, that's fantastic. But we thought that we could be more efficient by, trimming off some of those less formal stops, and then replacing that with on-demand service. So one of the concerns that folks had was, hey, you took off the hospital, you took off Adena, well, that cut, 5-10 minutes off of the commute, and there's nothing
clear
in
out Bridge
between.
Street.
Exactly. Yeah. So we go up to the Golden Corral and the apartments that are behind there, but we don't go any further on the fixed route. But you can get an on-demand van to take you up to the hospital, same day if you want to. We recommend that you give us at least 24 hours in order to ensure that there's a bus available to you, and you can schedule that by phone or using the app and all that stuff. But generally we can accommodate that. We can schedule recurring trips for people. If you know, I mean, there are lots of folks that utilize our services to get to work every day. I did it this morning. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's so
with the on-demand service, how is that different than just the regular bus route from a cost for people? Is it different? Is it the same type of thing, or?
It is the same. We are offering it all for the low price of $0 for the year of 2022. It is, given that it's part of a pilot program and we're trying it out for the first time, we're going through this year. We'll look at costs, following 2022. But what we find is that it oftentimes costs more money to collect a fare than, it's to the point where it's just not cost effective to collect fares at all. When you count in time for staff transporting money around and all that stuff, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. So in the interest of maintaining a service to everyone, and also providing that more efficiently, we find that we can be funded by, federal and state dollars and tax dollars and provide that benefit to everyone.
Yeah. So that's probably something a lot of people don't realize about the transit system.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's lots of different transit options, in Ross County. There's cab services and all that stuff, and there are some that provide, free transportation to medical appointments and that sort of thing. But anywhere in the city of Chillicothe, you can call the transit hub up and say, hey, come pick me up. I need to go here. And we can accommodate that Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then on Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6. Closed on Sundays.
Yeah, what a great service.
Yeah,
that a lot of people don't even know that is available to them.
Yeah. And Mike, you mentioned that we are making refinements to the service as well through the course of 2022. Given that it is a pilot program every quarter, we're going to review our services. We're going to change up the routes a little bit, make things a little bit more efficient. Just to give you a taste or an idea of one of the things that we're looking at is the western route, the green route, is very, very tight. It comes up, through our neighborhood on Orchard Hill. It's a little bit tight there. So we might move, we're looking at moving some moving some stops in order to just kind of make that flow a little bit better, just to make sure that we're keeping within the time constraints. We want to make sure that people see us at regular intervals and they come to trust the service and know that it's going to be there, that we're going to be there when we say we're going to be there.
Yeah. One of the other things that I think is that folks don't know about is just how much the volume of people that use the service. And I know you gave me some numbers last week at the meeting, and you shared them with me again this week because I'm writing something up for the Chamber newsletter. But it might be too much to ask you to just quote them from memory, but maybe you can.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in the first month of the year, like it was astounding to me how many people.
Over 2,200.
Yeah.
We had over 2,200 rides just in the first month of on demand. And that's just the on demand service.
Yeah.
2,200 on demand.
Yeah. No, that's not unique riders. We had 300 unique riders.
That's fair. I mean, but still
2,200 rides. Over 2,200.
That's incredible.
2,233 specifically. But yes,
and more
That's
importantly,
fantastic.
The number of new riders that had never used transit before was 233 or something like that.
That's right. Yeah. So of those 300 unique riders, 233 had never used the service before.
Which really, I think, tells you you're hitting the sweet spot, right? Like,
and we've just started doing this, Mike.
Yeah.
Like we just started the outreach, and that's intentional. That's by design, right? We wanted a month to just kind of figure out the kinks in the system, and there are plenty.
Sure.
There's IT concerns. There's just all the hiccups that come with any sort of change, and all that. Given all of that, and gosh, the staff of the Transit Hub are just going to beat me up over this, but like it's going very well so far. Like, there's no wood to knock, but it's by and large, it's very smooth. I'm taking a look at the overtime numbers and based on that and based on vacations and the response times that we have, our staffing is sufficient for this. I'll also mention that another nuance to that number, that 2,200. This is our slow season.
Yeah.
Historically, people don't go as many places in January.
It's cold out.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you have the option not to go, you don't. So
That's right.
we have every reason to anticipate that number will grow over time, and I think that more than justifies what's there. Because I mean, just in the short time that I've been there, I get on Nextdoor. I don't know if you guys know what that is. Yeah. I get on that and like look at what folks say, and there's a lot of people like, why don't we have Uber and Lyft here? We should have Uber and Lyft. And I'm like, you don't. I mean, we do, but you also have it. You're as Chillicothe citizen, you pay taxes. You have it. It's here. We're,
you're just not taking advantage of it.
Yeah. Just give us a call.
Yeah. And the transit system still runs county routes too to specific areas on specific days, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. So if you pick up a brochure and take a look at it,
you should, because they're incredibly informative. I just saw them last week and they're amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. We have them on every one of the buses, just grab one. I mean, they're all over town, different agencies at the library. The library effectively functions as a second transit hub. I mean,
really
James
does.
Hill is he's a huge supporter of us. Really great guy. And that transit hub is really, really coming together. I kind of want to gush about that for a sec. If I can. So you've noticed probably a lot of changes if you've been paying attention over there. We've added a swing set. We've added a shelter. We're looking at adding some more benches over there that I'm really, really excited about. I can't say too much more about that right now, but there is more to come. The landscaping there, we're gonna do some trees and make that just kind of a very nice little outdoor green space. But it's really becoming much more of a center of the community than it already is, so.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you on Monday I had to run to the pharmacy. Allen's is my pharmacy, and as I came back, there's 2 or 3 kids on the swing. There's another kid running around playing. Like it was
in the winter.
Yeah,
that blew my mind. Like I sat out there this morning. I was like, no, it's too cold. Yeah. But like, there's James has told me, he's like, oh yeah, there's people out there even when it's cold and windy out, swinging on the swing. They're enjoying it. So
yeah. It's pretty fascinating to think about. Again, I think just a town of this size having a transit system like this that can get you from place to place, and the other thing, like I was telling somebody the other day, it's an employer. I said, and I think I recounted this story to you at the meeting. I was talking to this employer and they were like, we had to fire this one guy because he couldn't get to work and so on. He had an excuse every time. Car breaks down, so on and so forth. I said, well, let them know. Car breaks down, you can call the transit hub, get an on-demand. Hopefully, I mean, they
grab
like
one of our brochures, put it up in your break room.
Yeah,
just get the word out and let folks know that it's there. But that's exactly what it's for.
Yeah,
right.
That's what we want to partner with you on, is to try to get that word out to more and more employers, so that way they can have those things and you just hand them to people and say, hey, you're having problems getting to work. Here's the solution.
There you go. There you go.
And I think that's very important because, again, with the workforce issues the way they are, the last thing we need is another barrier. I can't get to work.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind having the job, but I can't get to work. Well, this takes care of that.
Well, that's just it, right? Like, and that's what I love about transit, right? To your point, I don't come from a transit background. I come from a nonprofit, management background. My degree's in public administration, and I've been working in the behavioral health field. When I applied for this job, I said, they're not even going to look at my resume for this. And the more I learned about the job, it was kind of like in Chillicothe, the more I learned about it and the folks that we're serving and the connections that we have in the community, I was like, no, this does make sense. Because we are very front facing. We see a lot of different folks, because we are a service that is extremely public facing, that serves a lot of individuals that need the bus to get around. Yeah. But we don't want to be a service that's exclusively for folks that have no other choice. Like, I take the bus because I like it.
Yeah.
Because it's convenient. It gives you a moment to read. It gives you time to reflect. It's something you don't have to, actively pay attention to. It's safer. it's great in the wintertime. It just requires a little bit of planning and foresight in advance.
Right.
So,
Yeah. The physical look of the buses is going to change a little bit too, right?
That's right. Yeah. So we are taking off the advertising on the standard buses that we have. That's been a kind of a minor revenue stream for us in the past, and that's something that we are doing away with, just to promote kind of a cleaner look for the buses. We're also going to rewrap those in order to make them more consistent with the logos and things that we have on there. So yeah, you're going to notice that. You're going to notice a cleaner look from a more uniform look from our drivers as well as our dispatchers. We have some reforms coming as far as uniforming is concerned too. So a lot of changes.
And on the buses, there's some of them bike racks. Mm-hmm. It's not all of them. It's just a few, right?
Yeah. So each one of the buses is equipped with. I'll tell you this: each one of those is ADA compliant in that it does have a wheelchair lift. 2 of them go up to 1,000 pounds as we acquire more vehicles, as we do from ODOT every year. When we send those older vehicles out to auction and we get new vehicles in, those will eventually all be replaced with 1,000-pound lifts.
Yeah.
So that can take somebody on there. But also, yes, we do have bike racks on the front, so you can pick up one of the Book-a-Bike bicycles from our transit hub or the library, take a ride real quick, and then when you get tired, go head over into a bus stop or call on demand and be like, help. I need this sells too much. I need a ride. So
I think that's, a fascinating part of this thing too, because, you would think bus routes would lend to sedentary, right? But this is actually a way to minimize that a little bit, which is kind of interesting.
Absolutely.
From a public perspective, public health perspective, I think it's like, well, that's definitely a juxtaposition that I would have never thought of in the past.
Sure, and it's like a comfortable walk too, right?
Yeah.
You walk 2 or 3 blocks out to your bus stop. You stand for a couple minutes, but I mean, if you plan properly, and the bus comes by in a couple minutes, you hop on and off you go, and then you walk to your destination from wherever it puts you out, unless you're fortunate enough to be going somewhere that it's like door-to-door service. But yeah, it's a great way to get some extra exercise. Great way to work that physical activity in your daily routine.
Yeah. The other thing that occurs to me too is that the Ride Chillicothe app is, I literally used to, because there's a bus stop at my old house right over here in Fifth. There's one right at the corner of Caldwell there. So whenever I was first started on the transit board, I would take the bus every once in a while. I still do to some degree. But I would literally look at the app and see when it was coming out. So I was like, okay, especially during the cold season, I would be like, I'm not going out there till I have to.
Right.
But it's amazing. You can literally track in real time where the buses are and everything. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we do the same thing to make sure that folks are being safe on the road. All of our drivers possess CDLs. You have to in order to drive our vehicles, even the vans. So you can be sure that somebody's safe and professionals picking you up and taking you where you need to go. It's a safe service for you to put your kids on. Safe service that'll get you where you need to go. We allow service animals, of course.
Yep.
Pets we can't necessarily accommodate, but anything that's a service animal that you need to get around, totally fine.
This is big. Horizon Fiber Internet is ready
Let them get you hooked up and power your Wi-Fi network
with the speed and reliability that only a 100% fiber network can do.
Horizon is ready to help you do what you do better. With real people, real rates, and a real service.
Connect with them today, and the first month is free, plus no contracts and no data caps. Call 740-772-8331
or visit horizonconnects.com/Chillicothe to sign up today.
Yeah. You were not here for the trial of the Chillicothe trolley last year, but obviously we've purchased the trolley. It's being created as we speak.
That's right.
And we'll probably be here sometime this spring. I don't think we want to get into specifics on that, but let's talk a little bit about the trolley, because I think there's some misconceptions, and I think it's important to clear up those misconceptions. There's a lot of people that have criticized the trolley for, hey, why don't we spend money on safety forces, or why don't we spend money on this or that? specifically, where does the trolley, the money for that come from?
Well, that's the thing. Whenever you get money from a governmental entity, there's strings attached, right? There's no such thing as free lunch. If you get money from ODOT, you're not going to hire cops with it.
Right.
They'll never go for it. You'll never pass an audit, and you'll never get federal funds again, or you'll never get state funds again. There are very specific guidelines about what you can and cannot purchase. There are very specific guidelines about what is a capital expense. That is something that's an asset, right? That's something that you purchase and that you have over time, right? You buy some land, you buy a building, buses, vehicles, that sort of thing. Those are capital expenditures as opposed to operating expenditures, right? Just for anybody who's not familiar with that distinction. Operating is, salaries for your staff. It's fringe benefits, insurance, those other sorts of things that go along with just keeping the doors open, right? It's keeping your heat on, it's your electricity and that sort of thing. And when you apply for money, when you apply for grants, in nearly every case, certainly for a governmental body, but even in nonprofits, you have reporting requirements, and you get audited, right? Folks will come in and make sure that you're spending the money in the way that you said it, right? So when you apply for something, and we're in the midst of this right now, I'm working on something called a letter of intent that goes to Ohio Department of Transportation that says, okay, so these are the projects that we want to do in 2023. This is exactly how much it's going to cost. This is why we think it's necessary. And that's just the first round, right?
Yeah, right.
So you guys are smiling. You've applied for some federal and state funds before. Yeah. It's a whole process, and it should be, right? It absolutely 100% should be, because you want to make sure that those dollars are being spent wisely. You are a custodian of that. You're a keeper of the public dollars, and you don't want to betray that trust. So that's a critical part of it. But it also means that those dollars aren't at your discretion. Now, if you have a little bit more discretion if it's tax dollars or other things, but anything that's grant funded like that has to be expended on those things. So really, it's some people have in their mind that there's just like a big vault somewhere that everything gets paid out of. The trolley just took out took 3 cops' salaries for a year. Well, that would be terrible, but that's not what happened. Right. That's not what happened at all.
Yeah.
In fact, so it was $200,000 that was the request that was made of council that was granted. We actually purchased the trolley with all of the bells and whistles for $160,000. So we came in well underneath that budget.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Yeah. And I think it's such a great it's a unique thing that we have that a lot of places don't. The routes that it's going to run, and I think we should talk about that too, because obviously the downtown is where we really focus the trial. But we're looking at something different for the actual implementation of that, right?
That's right. Yeah. So we have a couple different routes that we've set up. And again, these are all coming out of the innovation track. These are all coming out of us going to citizens and saying, what do you want? What kinds of services would you use? What is going to get you, what you need? The trolley was hugely popular across samples, and great care was taken to ensure that was a representative sample of Chillicothe's population, right? You've got folks across various income levels, across various occupations, parts of town, all that sort of thing. We're asking them, what do you want? Well, the trolley was part of what came out of that. And the uses are coming out of suggestions from the community and that innovation track. It also comes out of the Transit Advisory Board, right? That is a public meeting that is open to the public. We have a set board that and officers and all of that. But, if you want to learn about how our operations go, about what's going on in transit, come on out. Yeah. We work for you. That's the idea. So.
Yep. Well, that's even before I joined the board, I felt like transit was an open book, and they've been really good stewards of that income tax money. And, again, I think, I want to sound like a broken record, but to think of another town that has such a thing like this is just kind of boggling to think about, really.
Right. It sounds, I could see how some folks might think it's frivolous on its face, but I think, being the president and CEO of the Chamber of Commerce and talking to other chamber presidents, in other places where there's a lot of tourism, there's a tremendous benefit to having an attractive kind of niche thing like that draws people in. The trolley demo brought people in from Columbus for the day just to see the thing.
Yep.
Just to see it in operation. It brings people out, right? It gets people around to town. And we've been I can't really talk too much in depth about the routes that we are rolling out for it, but we are very, very intentional, not just about showing off our downtown space, but also the historical points of interest, around Chillicothe, right? What makes our town unique? What do we do different than everybody else? What do we have here that nobody else has, right? So it goes through Yoctangi. You'll see it hits some of the historical places downtown and on the edge of downtown, and places all around town that make Chillicothe what it is.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I tend to, when I go to another town to visit, and travel, we're huge proponents. My whole family, we love to jump on the metro or the subway or whatever that is. And I've been fortunate enough to go to San Francisco a handful of times, and my favorite public transportation there is the cable cars. Yep. And a lot of times it is the best way to see a city.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because you have a moment, you don't have to deal with traffic. You don't have to deal with knowing where you're going. And a lot of times these routes really go down and you really get a chance to see the city.
Right.
And so I think the exciting thing for me, for the trolley, if that's the plan for the routes, that you have an opportunity to see the city.
Yes.
And some highlights from that, that it will be a huge success in my mind, because I think that is just a unique, bring people to town, a unique way to see our community, to see how great the town is, and how fun is it to jump on a trolley? I mean,
right. Well, and it ties into the city's strategic plan as well. We haven't done that in 70 some years, but it doesn't matter what amenities we have in town if nobody can get to them.
Right.
If nobody knows they exist.
Yep.
Right. If we can't get people to them in a fun way, this is a great way to do that. That's a great way to bring in dollars from elsewhere and use them here to enrich the lives of people in our city. And that's kind of the way I think about, grant writing as well. I've had jobs where fundraising was a part of my job, and fundraising from individuals was a part of the job. It's my least favorite part of the job. I hate asking people for money.
Right.
But I will ask the government for money, for my money back, for your money back all day and all night, right? Like, I would like that to be spent. Like, folks will say, oh, well, you're going to this government entity, and those are still our tax dollars. Absolutely. Wouldn't you rather they be spent here in your backyard?
Yeah.
Improving your life every day, improving the quality of your town, making sure that maybe if you're not interested in using the service, your neighbors can. Your neighbors can get the work. Your business and your neighbors' businesses can prosper because of that. Public transit is a public good. That's the idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say that, I regularly hear from people, because of what I do, that come to town for a thing. So like this happened last year. We were, I was meeting a couple of friends down at Old Capitol Brewing to have a beer. And as I came up, there was a couple sitting there with their dog. We got into a conversation. Hey, we came down here to go to Grandpa Joe's. We didn't even realize everything that was down here. We're going to have to come back, stay in an Airbnb or a hotel, and, come back and see all the things that we missed. Imagine coming here and finding out that they have a trolley, and then you're like, well, now we got to come back and ride on a trolley too. So maybe you're planning, 3 or 4 days at that point, and I think that's what we want. We want overnight stays. We want people to come here and see what's great. We want them to come back. Absolutely. And I think anything we can add to help lengthen that stay is great.
And we have a number of those magnet attractions here, right? Like we have High Five Kicks. We have 2 Roasting Joes. Like, I'm from Columbus, and like I was, talking to some friends' parents, and they were like, "Oh, Chillicothe? Oh, that's where we get our coffee." Yeah, they come up here and they do a farmer's market or whatever. And we're like, you can come down and go to their shop. And they were like, "Huh, we got to do that. We drink a lot of their coffee."
Yeah.
I mean, there's just stuff phenomenal. Like that. Yeah. I mean, there's Terry Gillum over at Steiner's, So, folks will come out here to see things that they've seen on YouTube or wherever else.
Well, and I think to even further that, I mean, when the World Heritage designation becomes a reality, people are going to be completely unfamiliar with this place.
Yes.
And honestly, again, I think in some European nations more than others, but public transit is the way to get around. They don't even own
100%.
cars. And so they're going to be more apt to say, okay, well, how am I going to get from this place to this place?
Yes.
Because I would do that in my town by getting on the bus.
Let me take off my transit director hat and put on my concerned citizen hat. We want them using the buses.
Yeah.
Right? We want tourists
we do.
on the buses. We don't want, that creates some congestion in the streets. It's very exciting. It's a lot of dollars. It's a lot of attention, and that's good for downtown. But for the folks who live here, if they don't have any other way to get around other than a private vehicle, that means a lot of congestion.
Yep.
And there's already issues on Bridge Street. There's a lot that's going on that's coming up to kind of alleviate all that congestion and those problems and that sort of thing. But when the Hopewell Mounds become a World Heritage Site, that's going to attract people from all over the place.
Yeah.
And we need to be ready with the infrastructure to meet those folks' needs.
Yeah. You mentioned coming here from another place and what attracted you. And I want to revisit that for a quick second, because it's something that I found when I moved here, it's 25 years ago now, but I remember thinking when I moved here, this will be a temporary stop, and it became more than 2 decades. So, So tell me what you and your wife and experienced that kind of made you think this is a place I'd want to be.
Well, I'm from Central Ohio, and I've lived in 3 out of the 4 corners of the state, as well as Omaha, Nebraska. I've lived in some places. I've seen how a lot of different communities operate. I also had a position with the Boy Scouts of America that was a sales position. It was very much, get to know your territory, get to know the city around you. And so I feel like I kind of got a sense of how to evaluate kind of the health and well-being of a community, right? Like there are certain things that you look for. And there are places that are communities that have a sense of placefulness, that are unique, that people take pride in being from, that people return to. And there are places that don't have the advantages of those things. And you can look at a town and tell which direction an area is going. You get a feel for that here. My wife and I looked at houses in a number of different communities, and we came to Chillicothe and looked around, and we were like, no, this is it. This is the one for sure. People talk about there being, there's something in the water. There's something about a place.
Yeah.
Whatever that something is, Chillicothe has it. There's a reason it's a top 5 hometown, right? Like there's a reason that people leave and come back. There's a reason people choose to raise their kids here.
Yeah.
There's a ton of kids here, and they're healthy, and they'll talk to you. Like it's just interesting. like you're an adult, like you're just a person. You're just another person. I'm very impressed with like well-spoken, like
young people. Yeah.
Well-spoken. I'm 100 years old. God, I just feel like I just
aged
right
there. Right?
Oh yeah, jeez. Oh. Boy, it's bad. It's really bad. My wife's gonna make so much fun of me. My wife's gonna make so much fun of me later.
But it's a fair statement, though. Like, it's a thing that we talk about on this podcast all the time. It's like what draw you to the community, and it always comes back to that. Like people recognize that there's something different and special, and it's fun to hear that story over and over again. Never get tired of it.
Of care and concern for other people. An interest. And knowing what makes other people tick, they'll have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
Well, and there are a variety of things that can draw you to a place, right? Mm-hmm. The question is, what's going to keep you in a place?
Sure.
And I think the things that you've talked about are exactly the things that keep you in a place.
Right. And there are societal trends that are hitting us post-COVID that are going to bring more folks here, right? Like, the idea that you can work anywhere, that you can live anywhere and work anywhere at the same time means that you'll start thinking about things like cost of living, like what kind of outdoor space is there? Do I really need a car here? Is that an expense that I can do without? the more attractive you can be to somebody who's really doing that kind of soul searching, that kind of questioning of their values and what they want their life to look like, the better off you'll be. The better you'll attract people that to your community that are going to want to stay there.
Yeah. Yeah. What am I missing about transit? I feel like I covered a lot of ground, but I feel like I'm also missing something.
Yeah. So I can talk about. I mean, we've set up some new signage as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like we talked about kind of the anecdotal bus stops, but we've got some sharp new signage that just went up last month, showing you where the buses are, where the stops are, where you can pick up the buses. Some of that's just basic branding things and amenities. We've got another swing coming. We've got more benches coming. Just in the next couple of weeks. So those are all very exciting things that we're absolutely thrilled about. Other things that we're looking out towards, this is in the distant future, is, what kind of alternative fuel source vehicles are we able to acquire as our fleet ages and we turn those things over? Do we look at, there are buses that operate with propane. There are buses that operate with hydrogen, with solar and that sort of thing. We can look to alternative fuel sources in order to power our fleets, and that'll make us more energy independent. As it stands right now, we're getting our fuel for not just our buses, but also city vehicles from companies in Circleville and Waverly. But if we can generate that energy locally,
Right.
we should do that.
Yeah.
We should absolutely do that. We should keep our money local as much as we can.
Yeah. I can't emphasize enough how important it is for the community to reach out to transit and tell them the good and the bad. We're hoping that you're having a lot more good than bad.
Sure. But we need to know about the bad. Otherwise,
yeah, exactly.
How do you fix
so
it?
we can fix it. Yeah, exactly.
And the suggestions, keep the suggestions coming. Again, I think, the innovation track showed us a lot, but as Chris even pointed out, the Transit Advisory Board meets quarterly. The next one will be in May. And you can call transit at any point. You should give the contact info so that way I don't screw it up. But, because again, you can call down there, talk to the staff down there. They're happy to take your suggestions and hear your feedback for sure. So,
yeah, that's essential. I mean, like I said, we work for you, the taxpayer. So tell us what you want and we'll see if we can accommodate it.
And call and tell them that you want an on-demand ride, because that seems pretty cool to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
I haven't had to use it yet.
Great service.
It's nice to know that it's there,
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely.
Chris, thanks for coming on. This was incredibly informative, I think. And I think, again, as Chillicothe continues to pull people from all over the place, I think it's going to be more important to have a great transit system. So
for sure.
I think transit is central to the success of a community.
Yep.
How well can you get around the town?
Well, that's just it. Yeah, exactly. You can have all the amenities in the world. If you can't access them, you may as well not have them, right?
Yeah.
Transit is an equalizing force. It's a force for making sure that everybody is served, that everybody gets what they need. And we can do that. We just have to be intelligent about how we provide that service. There doesn't have to be such a strict division between East and West, between one side of town or the other. Folks need to get around, and we have a healthier community when we have a healthier circulatory system.
Yeah.
You can think about it that way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Well, again, thanks for coming on. We wish you the best of luck and keep doing what you're doing, because it's working. So
thanks,
we really appreciate it.
Been a pleasure being here. Great to be a Chillicothean. Chillicotheite? I don't know what the
Chillicothe-ian, I think, is what
Chillicothe
always said.
Most people use
EAN on the end of that.
This is a conversation you probably had before the podcast.
Yeah, it's all right. You're fine.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
You're listening to the Feels Like Home podcast with Mike Throne and Marty Ford. Powered by Horizon. This is big. This is gig.
It feels a little strange, but I don't feel alone. We just settled in and it already